Oregon remains united in the fight against this unwanted, unneeded military intervention in Oregon.
Oregon Governor Tina Kotek responds to Monday's ruling by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that allows the Trump administration to deploy the National Guard to Portland. Now at noon, more from the governor, who says the ongoing battle between Oregon and the White House isn't over. Plus,
now, marijuana is still a Schedule I narcotic, same as cocaine and fentanyl and heroin.
the Supreme Court will decide if regular cannabis use is enough reason to bar someone from owning a gun. The impacts this case could have around the country and here locally. Then later.
It hurts, you know, like we have put so much work and effort throughout this whole year and it's over.
Julio Rodriguez talking about the end of a great run for the Mariners after they fell to the Blue Jays in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. We'll recap the season-ending defeat. KGW News at noon starts right now. In a 2-1 vote, a 3-judge panel from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of the Trump administration, clearing the way for President Trump to send the National Guard to Portland. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Drew Carney. The 2 judges who sided with the administration were both appointed by President Trump. They said they were pausing the restraining order that's been blocking troop deployment here, in part because the lower court judge that issued the order didn't give enough deference to the president. Meanwhile, attorneys for the state of Oregon and city of Portland have asked for a larger panel of 10 judges to review the ruling handed down by those 3 judges. And Governor Kotek says the Guard members still can't be deployed here because of a second temporary restraining order that's still in place that continues to block deployment.
Right now, until the district court acts on the second temporary restraining order, National Guard members from Oregon, or from other states for that matter, cannot be deployed.
Mayor Keith Wilson continues to reiterate his stance on the matter, vowing to work with the state to do whatever the law allows to prevent what he calls federal overreach. The mayor was also featured in an opinion piece published by Newsweek where he described Portland's ICE facility as, quote, a disaster waiting to happen. The mayor said a recent visit there showed overflowing trash, faulty air conditioning, and overworked staff. He added those conditions could lead to an accident, an injury, or even death, noting reports of in-custody deaths at ICE facilities in other parts of the country. He ended the piece by challenging U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to rethink her department's immigration enforcement strategy. So far, there's been no response to the mayor's comments from Secretary Noem or anyone else with Homeland Security. We talked to one local legal expert who told us that yesterday's ruling may embolden the Trump administration to send more troops to places. Willamette University professor Laura Appelman says the Ninth Circuit Court's decision gives the president wide discretion in determining when troops should be federalized and deployed. Professor Appelman also pointed out that dissenting Judge Susan Garber's opinion focused heavily on the balance of power between state and federal governments.
She's arguing that this order of federalizing the National Guard is taking away Oregon's right to decide how to use its own state militia. And of course, this is also, I would say, a primary aspect of this case, but where does the federal government's power end? Where does the state's power begin?
Professor Appelman says the president's attempted use of the National Guard in Portland and other cities is different than what we've seen in the past when states or cities have actually asked for help. So this could all lead to more legal challenges between local and national jurisdictions. As for next steps, Appelman says she expects the Ninth Circuit to decide on whether this case warrants a review by a larger panel of judges. She also believes we could hear more on that in the next few days. KGW's Thomas Schultz was outside the city's ICE facility this morning, covering all the activity in that part of South Portland since yesterday's ruling came down.
Well, this morning outside the ICE facility in South Portland, it's still very quiet. We've seen a couple of protesters begin to shout at agents at the ICE facility, but still very little protests. Still, Monday night, we spoke to protesters who say they're going to stand their ground here outside the building even after the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of the Trump administration as they push to deploy National Guard troops. Now, Portland's been on the president's radar for quite some time now after a number of violent demonstrations outside the building in June. At the time, protesters circled the building and broke glass on the doors. At least one federal officer was injured. The feds responded with pepper balls and rubber bullets. Witnesses say some people hit, though, weren't actually involved in protest. But it wasn't until September that President Trump ordered the deployment of the National Guard. State and local leaders pushed back, saying the administration exaggerated what's actually happening on the ground. And while the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of the Trump administration on Monday, another temporary restraining order continues to prevent troop deployment for now. If National Guard troops are eventually deployed, they'd be trained in crowd control, but they couldn't make arrests. Still, protesters say regardless of what happens, they'll continue to push back.
There's really only so much fear that you can put in people before they just are numb to that. There's only so much tear gas you can give us before we're immune.
Again, it's unclear when or if National Guard troops will be deployed here outside the ICE facility in Portland. In the meantime, though, President Trump is eyeing another West Coast city, turning his attention to San Francisco, where he also is looking to send National Guard troops. In Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
All right, obviously a lot of news on that front. We'll continue to cover that as we move into the afternoon. But right now, Rob, we do want to take a break from the headlines to take a look at your forecast.
Yeah, well, with the morning valley fog, the only story really today is the clearing pattern of the fog. Keep in mind, it's been sunny all day along the coast. It's been sunny all day up over the Cascades and really sunny all day across all of Oregon, except for the Willamette Valley up in southwest Washington. So this is the good old-fashioned visible satellite picture. Again, the black means it's basically clear. The white are the low clouds showing up. Here's downtown Portland. So we still have clouds over on the east side, but clearing has come in from the west. Starting to get clearing pockets around Woodburn. Salem's kind of a holdout, but notice how narrow the strip of cloudiness is. So the clearing is well underway. Here's Schnickwinds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. Beautiful day at the coast. Winds are calm. It's 56 degrees, should easily get up to at least 60, 62. Been like this all day up over the mountain, and it's not cold. 54 degrees with calm winds at 6,000 feet. It was foggy over the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in a low, but now that is sunny. The sunshine has come up over the West Hills as we look up from the Providence Park camera, and here it is looking to the west from downtown Portland. Our temperature is still chilly out along the airport and the Columbia River at 48 degrees. But with the sun now here, models still show a big afternoon warm up into the mid 60s. If you have clouds, you will clear. We'll tackle that big rainstorm coming in on Friday and Saturday in my complete forecast coming up.
All right, Rob, before we get back to our news headlines, we do have a traffic alert to tell our viewers about. This involves downtown Portland. You can see right there, I-405 northbound completely blocked because of a crash. This is a live look at the crash area right now from the ODOT camera that's set up near Alder Street. Emergency vehicles have just arrived there at the scene. We've also learned some more about the woman who died this past weekend after she was caught in a sneaker wave on the Oregon coast near Siletz Bay, south of Lincoln City. Investigators identified her as as a 43-year-old woman, I should say, from Corvallis. There were multiple reports Sunday afternoon of someone who got caught in a strong current. Rescuers responded quickly, but by the time they reached her, she is already dead. Authorities say the woman was pulled hundreds of feet into the ocean in just a matter of minutes. Sixth graders at Fowler Middle School in Tigard were served pretzels contaminated with oven cleaner during lunch period. The Tigard-Tualatin School District says this mistake happened yesterday and the school immediately contacted Poison Control. The school also let parents know what happened and said they should contact Poison Control if their student experiences symptoms like vomiting or a burning sensation. All right, an update on the Burnside Bridge project. The plan to build a new earthquake-ready Burnside Bridge is delayed indefinitely. Multnomah County leaders say it's because the federal funds needed to move forward with the project are unlikely at this point. So there is no set date for construction start. We know it had been pushed back already from 2027 to 2028, and the project price tag is also up to almost $2 billion after an original estimate of $900 million.